Welcome to our weekly program, The Inside Story of Chabad in America through the Mindel Archives. This program is definitely a continuation, so please listen to the previous program. Otherwise, I don't know if we'll be able to follow this because it is a hemshach. This is a memo, internal memo that Rabbi Mindel wrote to Rabbi Chadakov. After the report to the Rebbe, Rabbi Mindel wrote to Rabbi Chadakov that yesterday, Yutes at 1:30 p.m., Rabbi Groner called him. So remember, Shabbos Nachmu, the Rebbe spoke by Fabringen. Sunday, the Rebbe went to Rehel. Monday, the Rebbe called them in. That's Chai of Monday. Called them in to Yechidas. Tuesday, Rabbi Mindel wrote the report to the Rebbe. And now, Wednesday, Chov, Rabbi Mindel wrote a letter to Rabbi Chadakov. And also, they got a report already from the meeting that I guess Rabbi Krinsky had with some shluchim. They already got, by mail, they got already reports. So maybe I'll read just the beginning, a few reports soon. So Rabbi Groner called Rabbi Mindel at 1:30. Yesterday means Chov, means a Yutes. The Rebbe wants to know what we have done so far in our new mission. Mamish. The Rebbe, he went to Rehel Sunday and he wants to know right away to please report to him before Mincha. Before Mincha, the Rebbe has to know. And Rabbi Mindel writes this to Rabbi Chadakov. My answer to Rabbi Groner was that I would promptly submit a partial report. I could not complete it before Mincha, so I faxed to Rabbi Groner the report, a partial report, so Rabbi Groner could give it to the Rebbe right away before Mincha. Only partial, because he didn't have the whole report. At the same time, I gave the fax to Rabbi Klein to give it to Rabbi Chadakov. And Rabbi Mindel writes, as of now, we Baruch Hashem fulfilled a good portion of our mission to publicize the Rebbe's instructions on international project of increased activities. But the Rebbe's focus is not only on activities and shluchim the world over, but clearly with emphasis also on all institutions who administration should appoint a committee of 3 who should keep a watchful eye on all the additions and improvements being done from Tu B'Av of this year and on. This committee of 3 being created should be new, not merely to strengthen an existing one. This is, he wrote in Hebrew, but I'm saying it in English. The administration should therefore appoint 3 members whose job is, as mentioned before, to report to international committee appointed by the Rebbe Shlita, just as other appointees are doing. And now in the summer season, Rabbi Mindel writes to Rabbi Chadakov, most institutions do not function as during the year, and also to the members of the administration, so it's not easy to get in touch with them in a timely fashion. So this is, so it's not relevant now to do this, but we should right now appoint 3 people at least to be ready what the Rebbe wanted. And another thing, it is my suggestion, as it concerns the institutions, perhaps it is advisable to contact them with a communal letter, which we will send to each institution individually, and being that we often have visitors coming from cities and communities the world over, we can send these letters with these visitors going back to their respective locations. If my suggestion is agreeable with Rabbi Chadakov, perhaps you, Rabbi Chadakov, would consent to compose this communal letter, or at least to list the major points to be included, and I will try to compose the letter. And all those who will do the will of the Rebbe will do what is in their hands to do, and disseminate their letters to each institution. And then he wrote that they should get ready envelopes, whatever he wrote. So this happened on Chof. Now, so in the meanwhile, these few days, people send in letters. I will read you just some, not all. Next time we will do the rest. Just the beginning, what people sent and what they're going to do. 6 days later, Chof Vov, Menachemov, Rabbi Mindel wrote to Rabbi Chadakov. After Rabbi Mindel sent a report to the Rebbe, today before Mincha, Rabbi Leibel Groner called me and relayed to me the Rebbe's answer. What was the Rebbe's answer? It was received and Teshuas Chain with thanks, and thank you in advance for continuation of the report, and also B'Hatzlocha of Thursday that you sent me, Pashas Re'ei. And I told Rabbi Groner, Rabbi Mindel writes, to give the answer also to Rabbi Chadakov before Mincha. And Rabbi Mindel wrote to Rabbi Chadakov, I don't have any additional material to add to the partial report, because I did not receive anything from Rabbi Krinsky. They told Rabbi Krinsky, but he didn't receive anything yet, and he was supposed to contact Shluchim. So he doesn't know yet, so he can't send the whole report. Since I don't have the entire list, I cannot fulfill the Rebbe's will. But the Rebbe answered. So Rabbi Mindel has only the list of some people who wrote and answered right away, whom I will get the entire list. I will make a system which the reports will be sent to the Rebbe. Being Rabbi Krinsky is present, it could be preferable that he undertook this task either on his own, or he can get an assistance if he is able to. And send us the report. And the project, of course, we need people. So this is what Rabbi Mindel wrote to Rabbi Chadakov. Now, I want to read some. Meanwhile, reports came in. Who were one of the first that sent in? So here I have Kvoid Harav Chadakov Rabbi Mindel, that the Vada Masifim that were chosen, 3 people, was Moshe Yechiel ben Frieder Chame Feller, Rabbi Moshe Feller, Atayir Erid. He sent in right away. He didn't write what they said they're going to do, but at least the names. The Rebbe, because should know at least the names. Osher ben Breidel Zeilengold, Menachem Manes HaKoyin ben Miriam Diel Friedman. Also they chose Banishevitz. That's one report. Also from Chabad from Milwaukee, Nisyasid in Milwaukee, Devad, is Yisrael Shmotkin, David Rappaport, Devad Kloli, and Avram Kaufman and Mordechai Spalter, Yaakov Alevi Litvin. All the Torah, the Anhol of all the Torah, Rabbi Lustig writes, they chose 3 people, and that could be Mashpia, and it was asked by Rabbi Kalman Marlow that he should okay the 3 people. I don't know why they asked him, but that's what it says. And they chose Menachem Mendel Marozov, Harav Nachman Schapiro, and Shrage Feivel Levin. And about the 3 people of the Tom Chetmimim, Rabbi Raskin writes that they chose also 3 people, only for a time, maybe they might change later, was Harav Shlomo Zarchi, Zalman Lapkovsky, and Harav Eckhaus. In England, this is one of the first. They wrote Rabbi Nachman Sudak, that in England and in Manchester, and I'm going to name all the cities he mentioned, but I'm just going to name the names. Harav Sholem Futafaz was one of them in England, Levitzok Raskin, and Chaim David Tiefenbrun. In Hempstead was Gordon and Sabak, Elchonen Gorman, Gedalia Rotman, Tzvi Salitsky, Levi Yitzchak Sudach Shmuel Arkish, Fischl Cohen. Rav Ryder. In Oxford, Gershon Oberländer. In Brighton, Pesach Offin, Lidon was Anglofi. In Manchester, Avram Yafi, Chaim Paro, Sender Liberov. In Wien, Austria, was Biederman, and in Antwerp was Shapsai Slivotsky and Azriel Chaikin. Holland was Benjamin Jacobs. In Sweden was Levi Yitzchak Schmerling. In Italy was Yitzchak Chazan, and it says Harav Garelik Lehoyu Ba'ir. Harav Garelik was not in the city then. In Morocco was Menachem Mendel Raskin, Yitzchak Sabak. In France was Azimov, Peretz Fartush, Exxon Providence, Oshez Arabi. In Leil Eliohu Da, in Met Yehuda Matisov, Marseille was Harav Lapkovsky. In Nice was Pinson, Yitzchak Simon, Yitzchak Avizeret. And Nachman Sudak signed that also. Springfield was one of the first that sent in, was Yisrael Darren. That he writes Boston was Posner, was chosen, Prus, Fogelman, and Gurkov. Leiserson. Maryland was Kaplan, and Maine was Alensky. Rabbi Groner was North Carolina. Weinberg was in Missouri. There's a feller Minnesota. Sperling, Canada. And Rabbi Chadakov called all the Teda. He called Rabbi Teitelbaum and Rabbi Rosenfeld, and he discussed about the Moshe, what they should do and how they should do things. And then it says Moshe Harrison was chosen in Morristown. In Sfas, it was one of the first. Kiryas Chabad, Neshech Chabad, Oy Menachem Gadim, Beis Chabad, Beis Levi Yitzchok, Yeshiva, Kol Avrechim, Kol Tiferes Kenim, Mochen Alter, Mochen Ascent, and Tzach was Levi Bestritsky was all of them. He's the one who appointed. In Tveria was Kramer, Yudmem Kramer, B'Shem Achiv Yosef. In Lud was Avad, that's Leah, Yisrael Halpern, Beis Chabad, Yisrael Halpern. In New Brunswick, New Jersey, Yosef Karlbach. Toledo, Ohio was Yud Sheit. Then more in Boston, Shiva Achet Mimi, Chaim Cement. Montreal, and this is something special that I'm going to read probably next week. Yeshiva Achet Mimi, Harav Handel. Right away he wrote back, and the Tzach was Sholomber Mochkin. And in Miami, Avraham Korf with the sleeve of the Merkez Yeshiva Gdoila. In Akku, Nosson Yitzchak Euchman. And also a lot of Yechidim from Akku, from Rechovetz, from Tzfaz, from Haifa, Beis HaKnesset, Beis Chano, Sanhedria, Yerushalayim, Beis Bekoimes. Shimon Hecht was from Park Slope. And then they wrote a duch also, I'm not going to mention it today, maybe next week, from Gan Yisrael, Montreal, what Yosef Kessler wrote to give it over to Rabbi Chadkov and Rabbi Mindel, and the Rebbe read every single name. And that's why it's important to read the names. And in Mirz Hashem, next week, I'm going to continue what happened later, and we're going to mention the names. And then, if we have time, we'll mention the names that the Rebbe made comments. Thank you very much.